What's up, everybody? It's Paul here with Road Trip Transport. Today we're gonna do a little comparison, a little bit to talk about my trucks. I've got a Mack Anthem, 2021 Mack Anthem. Check out Hotshot Dave. I'm gonna do a review with him on it. A quick little review. We just met up at a truck stop, and so he's gonna release that on Monday. Hotshot Dave. Check him out on YouTube. He's a bigger name than I am, so if you're here, you probably already are on his channel. So today we're going to talk about the difference between the Mack Anthem and the Peterbilt 579. Now, I think this is a good comparison because they're virtually identically spec trucks. I have a Mack with a Mack powertrain from the front to the back, 445 horse MPA, 12-speed M-drive transmission, and Mack rear end. The Peterbilt is running the PACCAR 445, the PACCAR 12-speed, and the PACCAR rear end. So they're virtually the same spec trucks. So this might make a lot of fanboys mad, but the Peterbilt is awful. I'm not saying it's a horrible truck. It's okay. I mean, it gets the job done. There are a couple negatives to the Mack, and I'll get into those. But in pretty much every way except for two, the Mack Anthem's just a better truck than the Peterbilt. These are my opinions. Don't get too angry at me. But the Mack is updated. It's got features to it. It has USB charge ports. It's got outlets all over it. Regular 12 volts with the inverter, all over it. It has actual cabinet doors. Now, I know you can get those on Peterbilts, but this is a base model Mack, and that's a base model Peterbilt. It's got the fabric button doors, on the Peterbilt. This has the actual cabinets. This truck shifts smoother. They get about the same fuel mileage. The Mack pulls better. It'll pull a hill better than that Peterbilt all day long, loaded. Even though they're both 445 horse, and they're essentially the same rear end. I think one's 308, one's 311, but they're pretty dang close. The Mack just has more stuff to it. It's got updated gauges. It's a more modern feeling environment, but they kept that kind of bulky Mack, dump truck feel you would expect from one of these. It's very muscly. The steering wheel's big and square, and it's got bolts. It's got Allen head bolts right in the steering wheel that you can see. It's got good control, steering wheel controls for your volume and your phone and your cruise and everything. The switches are real big and just kind of that blocky, good feeling switch. And it's got red, white, and blue gauges, which are cool because it's a Mack Anthem. It just is. It feels more modern. Okay, it has more stuff in it. The Peterbilt feels like it was built and designed in 1995. I looked inside of Dave's truck. My dad had a 14 579. Dave's is an 08. My dad's is an 07. And they haven't changed anything. They haven't updated anything. They look like they could be right out of 1995. That is my problem with Peterbilt. Is it very much feels like the Peterbilt is selling on its name. They're not doing any sort of innovation. Yes, the new ones have got a digital dash, but if you look at the rest of the truck, they haven't changed anything yet. It's still the same interior. Like, there's nothing updated about it. It's a very out-of-date interior. The sleeper's more roomy in here. This stand-up right here, where I can stand straight up, is better. The engine brake system works better. This has got a pedal, drop-down deal on the throttle, where if I push the pedal all the way through this little detent under the floor, it'll downshift. So if you're pulling a hill and you want it gear lower, you don't have to fiddle with the automated, and dial down. Just push your foot to the floor. It'll downshift once. So it's just kind of like there's the Peterbilt is too outdated, and they don't do anything to update it. That's my problem with the P. The PACCAR's gutless, but everyone kind of knew that. This Mack MP8 motor I really like. Reliability wise, they're both, this one's at 90,000, that I think's at 70 or 60. They've both had their fair share of problems already. The Peterbilt has had bigger issues. It's had problems with the emissions DEF wiring harness, which is really annoying. But the Mack has actually been in more because it had an air problem, which that's all, don't get me started. The Mack experience, the problem with maintenance today is nobody, anyway, long story short, this truck was in for far too long for them to finally try changing the air governor out, and that was the issue, was that we had a bad air governor. I even suggested that to them, but they can't do that because they have to go through their troubleshooting steps or they can't warranty the truck. My experience outside of the actual service itself has been that Mack is far better at not nickel and diming me. They have never charged me anything for warranty stuff. Peterbilt charged me $260 to adjust the cruise control limit. $260 to plug a computer in. And that's just what they do. Every time we go into Peterbilt, you can't leave there without at least $150 in a bill. You know, even though I've got the full warranty, they're always trying to nickel and dime you. It's just an awful experience that you pay out the wazoo for this warranty, and then every time you bring it in, they still manage to bill you. Oh, that's not covered. Oh, the diagnostic's not covered. Mack has not done that to me one time. At multiple facilities, at Tri-State, at Nextran, and at the Gulf Coast where I bought the truck from. 3 different dealership networks, and none of them have done that to me. They've all covered their warranty like they needed to. So I'm just I gotta go up here. So yeah, I'm sorry, it wins. Now there's 2 negatives, and this is the big one. Okay, there's 2 negatives to the Mack. The first is the cab. The cab is still too small. I can't. My seat right now is up against the cabinet at the back. I need to be able to get more comfortable in this cab. It needs to be better designed for big people. They just need to extend the cab part out. The sleeper's great. The sleeper's roomy. There's a ton of room, ton of storage, but they really need to make this cab bigger. It's a little too small. And then this is the big one, and I'm going to tentatively say it could be a big one because I didn't spec the trucks. I bought leftover trucks so I could get a deal. The Mack is heavy, really heavy. Now that means one of 2 things. Either the spec is, that means either one of 2 things. The spec is spec so that for a more heavy duty Mack, and possibly this was designed to pull, I think, frac tanks. So maybe this truck was spec'd out with a heavier frame and that type of thing. Or it's just unnecessarily heavy. The Mack is about 2,500 pounds heavier than the Peterbilt, and that's a lot. That is a lot of weight. So that's going to be the big negative for the Mack. Now I'm going to get a spec for me for when I go to my next trucks and see if it compares. So that's a tentative negative because it could just be this truck was overbuilt for the oil field, and that's why it's so dang heavy. So there you go, guys. I'm going to cut this short, but the winner is Mack. I hate to say it, and for those people that say, oh, well, Peterbilt's American made. Mack is the only truck that is still completely made in the U.S. Peterbilt, they build most of their stuff, I think, down either up in Canada, some of it's in Canada, and some of it's in Mexico. So Mack's the only one that builds all their Mack trucks still in Pennsylvania. And if you're going to argue that Toyota is more American made than the American companies, then Mack is more American made than Peterbilt and Kenworth. Now, is it owned by Volvo? Yes, but the misconception is that Volvo got bought by a Chinese company. Volvo Auto got bought, like their automotive, their cars, got bought by a Chinese company. Volvo, the trucking side and their big equipment side, is still owned by the Swedish, I think, Scandinavian, one of those Scandinavian countries. It's still owned by that Volvo. So, I'm getting sick of people saying, oh, the Mack is a Volvo. If you think Toyota is more made in the U.S., then this truck is more made in the U.S. than Peterbilt. So there you go. That's going to make a lot of people angry. All right. We'll talk to y'all later. See ya.